What the heck's going on in Jacksonville? Ugh. Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Crue Trime. Hey you guys, it's Crue Trime. My name is Sarah, and what I do here is tell you a terrible story to ruin your day and put on my makeup while I do it. So if that sounds like fun to you, you are in the right place. So make sure that you subscribe to this channel, turn on the notifications, and then that way you'll never miss one of my terrible stories. You guys like my shirt? Saw Jamie French last night. She came to DC. Love her. Let me know in the comments down below if you caught the Just Okay tour. So today's terrible story was actually recommended by my mom. Hi, Mom. So this case actually took place in the town where I grew up and where my parents still live. I had not heard of it because I don't live there anymore. But my mom was like, I wonder whatever happened to that case, because I remember when the thing happened, but, you know, didn't know any of the aftermath. So we're going to get into it today, and it's pretty bad. This is the story of Mariah Woods. If you care to know what kind of makeup I am using on my face, I don't really talk about it or feature it as I'm using it, so look down in the description box because everything is linked just for you. We are diving in today on the tragic story of Mariah Woods. She was a young 3-year-old girl from Jacksonville, North Carolina. Her life was stolen far too soon, thanks to one of the most pathetic excuses of a human being, Earl Kimrey. Oh yeah, we're naming names right out the gate because this guy deserves all the public shame that we can throw at him. Well, before we get too far into this well-earned rant, let's take a step back and understand just how this horror show unfolded. 3-year-old Mariah Woods was growing up in Jacksonville, North Carolina with her mother, Christy Woods. Jacksonville is a military town nestled in Onslow County, North Carolina. That's in the southeast, like north of Wilmington. Christy is a Jacksonville native, having attended Dixon High School. She was a divorced young mom of 3, trying to make ends meet, doing the best she could. But her choice of boyfriends, yikes. The guy she was seeing at the time that this story unfolded, Earl, human dumpster fire. But back to Mariah. So Mariah was a happy little girl, you know, full of life despite struggling with a condition called Mobius syndrome. It causes partial facial paralysis. She also suffered from some physical mobility challenges, and she wore braces on her legs to help her out. None of that stopped her from smiling or playing or lighting up the room. Unfortunately, Mariah's life at home wasn't exactly picture perfect. And let's just say that whenever there's a case like this, you can almost guarantee that there's some sketchy deadbeat stepfather figure lurking in the background. Enter Earl Kimrey, a 32-year-old loser with a rap sheet, a short temper, and an apparent allergy to employment. So on November 27th, 2017, just a few short days after Thanksgiving, 3-year-old Mariah Woods was reported missing. A 7-minute 911 call was placed at 6 o'clock in the morning by Earl Kimrey. He was breathing heavily, and he said, quote, "Our 3-year-old is nowhere to be found. We've looked everywhere in our house and out in our yard, and our little girl, she's missing." Christy, her mother, claimed that she had last seen her about 8 p.m. the night before when she put her to bed. And at some point, I guess she woke up like around 11 o'clock-ish, and Earl, I guess, put her back to bed or made sure she was back in bed. But the next morning, poof, she was gone. Now, of course, panic, right? Sheriff's deputies searched the family's home on Dawson Cabin Road in southwest Jacksonville. There were no signs of forced entry, but the back door had been left unlocked. I mean, had somebody snuck into the house and taken her from her bed, or did she wander outside for some reason? Who knows? So an Amber Alert was issued and law enforcement went into overdrive. The Onslow County Sheriff's Office, the FBI, the SBI, Marines from Camp Lejeune, and the community all came together in a frantic search for this young, toddler.
She was reported missing from her Jacksonville home on Monday. Her mother says when she woke up Monday morning during her daughter was gone. Now, the mother is now begging the public for any information that could help bring Mariah safely back home.
There were upwards of 700 volunteers out in the chilly November air looking for this girl. And the searches went on for about a week or so. Almost a week. The authorities asked local residents to comb through their properties for anything out of the ordinary in the hope that somebody somebody would come forward with information that would lead to finding Mariah.
If you have a shed, a barn, a wooded area, go take a look and call us immediately if you see something that's out of the ordinary.
Hundreds of tips poured in and were followed with little results. Prayer vigils were held at Folkestone Original Free Will Baptist Church, and Pastor Cliff Wilson said that the small community would stick together and help to get the family through.
As the sun sets on the third day of searching, a community is left without answers. What happened to 3-year-old Mariah Woods remains a mystery. A vigil aimed to provide comfort for those who needed it Wednesday night. Those in attendance included Mariah's family.
They're having some rough moments. They're doing all that they can do, and they feel helpless.
So a tip from the FBI came in and was published to the public, and it was surveillance photos of a woman carrying a small child that matched the description of Mariah. And the community was all over this. So my mom was saying that at the time that this search was going on, it was inescapable in town. Like, it was on every news station, it was on midday news, morning news, evening news, it was just everywhere. Well, the woman that was in the photo actually saw the news post, and she came forward to identify herself. It was a 23-year-old woman from Newport, North Carolina, but it was a false lead. The young child that was with her was her daughter, which was, very similar age and description to Mariah Woods. Well, as anybody who follows Crue Trime knows, when a child goes missing, you always look at the adults in the home first. And oh boy, they did not have to look far. Well, Adolphus Earl Kimrey II, Jacksonville native, 32 years old, his story evolved a little bit. He tried to spin this story about Mariah waking up in the middle of the night, but then she just vanished from the house. Come on. Like, a 3-year-old child doesn't just wander off in the dead of the night, and she certainly doesn't sneak past an adult man without him noticing. At first, he knew nothing, but then he had some more details, and then he had the nerve to suggest that Mariah's biological father, Alex Woods, had something to do with it. Classic suspect move. Throw out some random accusations and just hope something sticks. But, spoiler alert, it didn't. In fact, Mariah's father, Alex, learned about his daughter's disappearance the way that the rest of the public did, with the Amber Alert. Apparently, he hadn't seen his daughter in almost a year, and he spoke with the local news, casting serious doubts on Earl Kimrey's story.
Walked right up in there, grabbed a 3-year-old out of bed. She didn't cry, she didn't scream, nobody heard nothing. 4 people in the house, 2 adults and 2 kids, and somebody just comes up and snatches the baby up and walks out.
Do you think Mariah was abducted?
No.
So Alex and Christy's co-parenting relationship was non-existent. They'd actually been wrapped up in a really messy custody battle following an equally messy divorce. Mariah wasn't their only child together. They had 2 other sons, Ryan and Nathaniel. But Alex wasn't getting very far without a lawyer because he didn't have the money for one. So Alex had actually filed paperwork with Child Protective Services that alleged that 3-year-old Mariah was being sexually abused by Christy's boyfriend, Earl, the piece of shit. He also said that the 2 sons, aged 5 and 10 years old, were also being physically abused.
And in these public court documents, he says that his children are scared of their mother. He says that they cry when they have to leave his care. He says that the children would physically and mentally be better off under his care, citing Christy's erratic behavior, temper, and what he says is her ability to lie and cover things up.
So in the paperwork, Alex said that the kids were allegedly being exposed to adult situations. And in May of 2016, Christy had tried to run over his fiancée Heather with her car, and this all happened in front of the kids. Christy was charged with misdemeanor simple assault and communicating threats, but the charges were later dismissed when Heather didn't show up to the court appearance because she broke her ankle in an unrelated accident. When I was cruising the comments section in the local newspaper online posts and Facebook posts and stuff like that, there was quite a few people who, knew Christy or know Christy, went to school with her or something. I think somebody had commented that their cousin or brother or somebody used to date her, and they were saying, she's a mess. She's a menace. She needs to be locked up too. But that's not where the drama ends. So I mentioned earlier that Earl Kimrey had this long rap sheet that included larceny, assault, drunken disorderly conduct, but Christy wasn't clean either. Well, there's that whole trying to run Heather over with her car thing, but there's also multiple incidents of the Onslow County Sheriff's Department having to come out to her house because of domestic disputes or child abuse allegations. And then there was Earl's long history of substance abuse, alcohol, marijuana, heroin, and meth.
Collect the whole set.
So after Mariah disappeared and the skeletons came tumbling out of Christy's closet and Earl's closet, the older siblings, the boys, Nathaniel and Ryan, were removed from Christy's care and sent to go live with her mother. Meanwhile, these searches are ongoing. People combing through the woods, fields, their own properties, forests, everything. And after multiple days of grueling searches, the worst fears were confirmed. On Saturday, December 2nd, 2017, around 5:30 p.m., Mariah's tiny body was found by a Fayetteville dive team in about 18 feet of water near the Holly Shelter Creek Bridge, about 25 miles away from their home in Jacksonville, near Shaw Highway in neighboring Pender County. And this was no accident, obviously. She had been dumped. She had been wrapped in trash bags and stuffed into a zippered couch cushion cover. So the autopsy conducted at East Carolina University Hospital in Greenville, North Carolina, revealed that Mariah had died of chloroform poisoning. And she had bruises and scrapes on her face, but there were no signs of sexual assault. The investigation later revealed that witnesses saw Earl Kimrey place an object bigger than a backpack into the van registered to Christy Woods at around 11:30 p.m. on the night that Mariah allegedly went missing. Police searched the van and they seized a pink jacket, zip ties, children's clothing, sections of the carpet, and swabs from the seats of this 1996 minivan. Over 250 pieces of evidence were actually sent to the FBI forensics lab in Quantico, Virginia for forensic examination. Well, as I mentioned, whenever a kid goes missing from a family home, the investigators first look at the adults in their life. And as they dug into his past, as we've already discussed, they found his rap sheet, this record of violence and drug abuse and all the rest. So we now know that Earl Kimrey actually did use chloroform to sedate Mariah. He wanted her to go to sleep because she was bothering him when he was trying to get high.
Just as I thought. Trash.
He was a meth addict. Shocker. Now, how did he get his hands on chloroform, you might be asking? Some speculate that he was an HVAC repair tech and chloroform is used, it's like an ingredient in a refrigerant somehow. Some say that it's also part of the recipe for cooking meth. Either way, it's actually shockingly easy to get your hands on if you're so inclined. So Mariah didn't just pass out from this chloroform, she died. Then the high on meth Earl, I guess, panicked and decided to conceal her body with the trash bags, and then he zipped her up in the couch cushion cover. Then he weighed it down with a cement block. Then he drove out to a remote spot and dumped her off the side of a bridge less than 25 miles away from their house. The funny, not really the right word, but funny part of it is when the police came to their home to look around after Mariah was reported missing, they noticed that one of the couch cushion covers was missing. I don't know what the excuse was to explain it away, like a stain, a rip, a something. But when this couch cushion cover was recovered from the water 25 miles away and it matched their couch, two and two together.
People don't forget.
On January 24th, 2018, Earl Kimrey was charged with first-degree murder and felony child abuse and obstruction of justice and a laundry list of other crimes.
Into a courtroom that is standing room only, flanked by a half-dozen deputies, walks Earl Kimrey. Shackled, chained, and wearing a bulletproof vest, accused of covering up the death of his girlfriend's daughter.
So after Earl Kimrey was arrested, he tried every trick in the book. Denial, fake tears, acting like he was the victim. I mean, you better believe he tried everything. But that evidence was overwhelming, and nobody was buying his bullshit. Kimrey was sticking to the story that Mariah's death was an accident. He had no intention of killing this girl. He just wanted her to be quiet. But concealing the crime, now that was going to be harder to explain, especially after practically the entire state mobilized to try to find this girl. So a full-blown murder trial was planned and scheduled and then rescheduled and then rescheduled. A little thing called COVID-19 actually threw a pretty big wrench in the works, but in 2021, Kimrey decided to enter a plea agreement.
Do you now personally plead guilty?
Yes, sir.
Are you in fact guilty?
Yes, sir.
Mariah was found in these waters 6 days after she disappeared by a Fayetteville dive team.
He knew there wasn't a snowball's chance in hell that he was going to get out of this one. So after rotting in jail for almost 5 years, he pled guilty to first-degree murder, presumably to dodge the death penalty, which very much still exists in North Carolina.
It was not my intention for this to happen. Again, I'm so very sorry to the family, friends, and everyone involved.
And I'll tell you, those comments on those news articles and the Facebook articles, the people, they want his head, okay? They want to do terrible things to him. It's very weird to me.
Not a Christian!
After a 70-minute hearing, Earl Kimrey was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. And honestly, it's kind of the best deal he's ever gonna get. Mariah's biological father, Alex, and a lot of her other family members have fought to keep Mariah's memory alive. Their efforts have sparked a lot of conversations about protecting kids that are in unsafe situations and holding adults accountable. So one of the major themes surrounding this case is, why hasn't Mariah's mother, Christy Woods, Christy K. Hunter, caught any charges related to Mariah's death? Well, Christy was fully cooperative with the investigation, and Earl was actually initially charged with concealing a body or disposing of a body and obstruction of justice a full day before Mariah's body was located. So it seems to me like Christy must have gotten some information, a confession or something out of Earl, or maybe she just knew more and shared it with the investigators to help them find her daughter. But based on her own rap sheet, she's on the Hot Mess Express too. She had a duty to protect her kids and not allow her shitbird boyfriend to get high in her house and put her own kids' well-being at risk.
I said what I said!
Some other comments that I found on Facebook allege that Christy was spotted out in town at the local Outback Steakhouse, drinking, cutting up, and having a good old time. And this is while the search for Mariah was ongoing. She didn't seem to have a care in the world. But we all know that Facebook is a shithole of rumors and gossip, so who knows what's true. But there are a lot of angry people wondering why Christy seems to have walked away from this free and clear. Although her daughter is dead, so there's that. Earl Kimrey was a coward, piece of shit, nobody, shitbird, and now he gets to rot away in prison, which is exactly where he belongs. My mom actually told me that a couple years after this case, there was another kid who popped up missing, and they were calling the community to come together and form search parties to find this kid. And good news, they actually did find that kid. He actually crawled under a shed or something and fell asleep. He was perfectly fine. He was just lost. There was just sort of this cloud hanging over the town that's oh no, not again, And I was what the heck's going on in Jacksonville? Ugh. Anyways, that is the story of Mariah Woods. If you have a Crue Trime story that you would like to recommend to me, I would love to hear from you. So look down in the description box. There's a link to a Google Doc where you can share all of the dirty details. Thank you so much for hanging out today and for watching this video. I really appreciate it. If you want to see more videos like this one, then consider subscribing to this channel before you leave today. I upload new videos here on YouTube every week, and you can follow me on all of the other socials as well. That is it for now. I will catch you next time in the next video. Bye! Oh my God. To keep Mariah's memory up. I cannot fucking talk today. Shit. I don't think I like that. Fucking A. Braces. Whoa. I don't think I like this makeup. Do I like that? I don't think I like that.